थैंक्स वैंक्स मत बोल।
फिर क्या बोलूं?
The real language of love. गालियाँ।
Lion.
कुत्ती।
उल्लू दी पट्टी.
तारी गाड़मा पे लाड़ा।
What?
It means two bodies stuck up your bum.
I love you.
Okay, so there's no way I can really talk about this show without exploring several facets of it. So this episode is going to be a total spoiler talk because there's so much to uncover regarding 4 More Shots Please Season 3. A show that for some reason, despite the criticism, despite the hate for its characters who excuse their destructive behavior and lack of responsibility to find themselves, and finally gets bigger and bigger budgets. The costumes get more extravagant, the locations outside of India become more elegant, but the writing stays as vapid and surface level that pretends to excuse horrible behavior towards other humans under the pretext of not being perfect. I understand the thought that goes behind a show like 4 More Shots Please. You see the years of regressive roles that women play in order to be showcased as the cookie cutter perfect woman, and in the pursuit of actually portraying the antithesis of the very same thing, you go so far and beyond the microcosm of what women look, behave, talk, and feel like that you push it to portray them as insensitive, privileged, toxic, and narcissists, but all protected beautifully in the cushioning of imperfection. For those who have treaded the waters of this show know exactly what I'm talking about. And for those who think that I'm mostly talking in circles, let's get into specifics and I'll talk about my outrage and frustration with the show's 4 principal characters in ascending order. Yes, I made this a math problem, but I have no other way of dealing with it, so bear with me. Anjana. So the girl got into a relationship with her colleague, assuming that he is in an open relationship, but obviously that wasn't true. Her daughter this season is an absolute menace, by the way, exposing to Varun's current wife that him and Anjana were making out randomly, and in one instance she also goes on a home alone tirade to push her baby brother around a pram in a fit of rage. Other than these unintentionally funny moments, soon to be twice divorced Varun moves in with Anjana until he gets a new place, and well, of course, nostalgia and sparks fly and the OG family reunites, only to the horror of the current wife Kavya, who is heartbroken, cheated on, as she sees Varun has so casually moved on. I understand the case of Anjana naturally gravitating towards Varun, as the dynamic with the daughter would put anyone in the fields of wanting the happy family back. But Anjana knows the red flags of Varun to great lengths and still willingly tries to give him a second, third, probably fourth chance. The hilarious part is that the moment Kavya comes running back, willing to forgive him for cheating on her, he goes running back to her, leaving Anjana heartbroken. Knowingly कुएं में डूबने का मजा कुछ और ही है for most of these characters. I have to say, however, Neil Bopanna as Varun, despite his constant fuckery in the show, is absolutely hilarious this season. Umang. So let's talk about Bani J's character. She left Lisa Ray's character at the altar because all that the celebrity could think about was her perspective, and Umang felt neglected in the entire relationship. She of course moves on and through the fuck you money that Siddhi has, starts her own fitness club. Umang is a classic case of not having moved on from her previous relationship, and in the process what happens is collateral damage for other characters who assume that this might be the start of something special, and Umang inevitably breaks their heart. All of this is still fine if Umang makes it clear that she isn't looking for something serious, but she constantly leads people on, makes them fall in love with her, and then raises her hands, not taking responsibility of causing the heartbreak. In one of the girl drinking sessions, Umang explains कि दुनिया को लग रहा होगा कि we're all f***ing up. So we're f***ing up, right? And they shout, so here's to f***ing up and cheers to each other. I know this is a take of no one's going to have a perfect journey, but the several people who become victim to your adult decisions is where the celebration of the same becomes kind of problematic. I think Bani as Umang does have her moments, especially a beautiful point where there's some form of closure with her father, but her dialogue delivery really sticks out like a sore thumb, mostly having a laid-back attitude even in scenes where she is required to be expressive and emotional. Her delivery will really remind you of Richa Chadda's character in Oi Lucky Lucky Oi, mostly mumbling through her dialogues rather than enunciating. What a life for Umang this season that even Lisa Ray comes back into her life for a last session with her. She breaks most of the hearts this season but gets to have the most fun as well. She even makes out with her brother's wife casually. Wah, kuch bhi ho raha tha. Siddhi. I personally love Manvi Gagru as a performer, but my god did her portrayal of Siddhi get on my nerves. They're of course going for the spoiled privileged brat with her role, but it is amped up and exaggerated so much that each and every scene of hers would make you want to skip those sequences. You know the first frame of the trailer of them in designer clothes walking outside a palatial establishment in Italy? It comes right after Siddhi verbally insults all the 4 characters, and they're all hunky-dory 5 seconds later. This is not an echo chamber of empowerment, but a group that excuses each bad behavior and celebrates never taking responsibility for their actions. Siddhi is overbearing, annoying, and more importantly, unemployed. Her stand-up sets really account for some of the worst comedy specials I have seen, and what's intended to be hilarious mostly transitions to become tedious TED Talks about the female experience. A case of a fan wanting emotional comfort after sloppily eating her out, and a dude having a fetish for big girls are traumatic roadblocks in her life, but her core is never addressed. Having to deal with a huge void in her life, the loss of her father. She is dealing with one distraction after the other, but counseling or therapy is never suggested, and what we are left with is a girl who makes the life of her mother a living hell. Who, by the way, played by Simone Singh, is an absolute breath of fresh air this season. Siddhi constantly pushes away a perfect guy who I have no idea why is obsessed with her. Mihir, played by Rajiv Siddhartha, really holds on to the idea of Siddhi and the history that they shared as kids versus his experience of just being stepped on and taken for granted in the current timeline. I haven't found Manvi Gagru this irritating in a long time, and not even in the quirky I'm such a mess space. If you laughed unintentionally in her comedic set pieces, then we can be friends. Damini and Jeh. Imagine going through a miscarriage that is extremely emotionally and physically traumatic and being with a guy who is sensitive and respectful of your boundaries and the time that you will take to reach a sense of normalcy or even close to its vicinity. Imagine a guy who makes the first move, acknowledged you aren't comfortable, and reassures you that we'll get there someday. That's Jeh, played by Prateek Babbar, for whom you will feel the worst during this season. The man does everything physically and emotionally possible to make Damini feel as comfortable as ever, and the moment her intellectual clitoris is caressed by political heritage, she can't help herself but be drawn to his charm. She only answers his texts, spends ample time with him, and of course cheats on Jeh with him. But that's not even the problem. A case of cheating, right? What's the worst that can happen? But imagine that you confess to your boyfriend that you cheated on him and you make your partner feel bad for it. In a case of absolute gaslighting and a scene that will make you want to break the device that you watch this show on, Damini blames Jeh for judging her every move, and the pressure of not making a mistake actually made her cheat on him. In a casual spin of words, she shifts the blame of sleeping with someone else on Jeh. And I could not help but do an angry walk across my apartment at the sheer audacity. Jeh is a cool guy, so he gets over it, but my god, did this plot point absolutely frustrate me. Barring a few sparks, which is honestly seeking for a needle in a haystack, 4 More Shots Please has only got more glamorized and stylized. But the writing has become more inconsistent, vapid, and pushes a narrative of independent women who don't want to take the reins of their own life, protected under the garb of the casual phrase of no one's perfect. What's hilarious is that at the end of this season, after all their fuck-ups, they make New Year's resolutions and within minutes say, कि ये तो नहीं होने वाला. I'm done. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about this show and why do you think it keeps on getting renewed every season. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.